Devil's joint, New Jersey Devils! Devil's joint!
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Devils You Know. Another goal for the home team. All right, welcome back to the Devils You Know, history and trivia, which of course I'm going to do both of today. Went top shelf. Three's a hat trick. Come on. Two-man advantage. Woo! Hockey punk rock is always the best punk rock. Two-man advantage, Long Island, New York. On April 10th, 2010, the Devils clinched their 9th Atlantic Division title in team history and their second consecutive with a 7-1 victory against the Islanders, those dirty, pesky Islanders, at the Prue Center, which we call the Rock. Patrick Elias had 2 goals, and Travis Zajac had 3 assists, a hat trick of assists. But I will ask you one question. Actually, I won't ask you that question. I'm going to go to Matt Taormina, October 13th, 2010. Matt Taormina recorded his first career point in a 1-0 overtime victory against the Sabres. He assisted, of course, on Ilya Kovalchuk's game-winning overtime goal. I think I might have went through this one before, but which 4 players do you think scored at least 20 goals in the... No, I never actually went through this one. For the Devils in 1991 and 1992. Now, there's a very special group of players, a very good mix of players. And I'll give you 2 of them won the Cup with the Devils in 95, and 2 of them didn't. I did recently pull the rookie card of one of these guys. He scored, seems like one of these guys scored 20 goals in his rookie season. And that would be Kevin Todd. Peter Stastny is number 2. And then, of course, Claude Lemieux, the GOAT, and Stéphane Richer. Doesn't get any better than Stéphane Richer. Go watch some Stéphane Richer replays. On February 13th, 1989, Brendan Shanahan scored his first career hat trick to lead the Devils to an 8-1 victory against the Maple Leafs at Brendan Byrne Arena. Fuck you, Wayne Gretzky. Take that, Mickey Mouse Club. The 82-83 New Jersey Devils began their inaugural season with a win and 3 ties in their first 4 games. Which opponent was the first team to defeat the Devils in game number 5? Who was the first team to ever beat the Devils? Because the Devils beat Pittsburgh. No, they beat either Pittsburgh or the Rangers. And then they tied. Pittsburgh and the Rangers were their first 2 games. Or within the first 3. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Game number 5 was the first time the Devils ever lost. And it was to the Montreal Canadiens, which were not a bad team in the 80s. They did win a Stanley Cup in the 80s and in the 90s. And that was the last time a Canadian team ever won a Stanley Cup in 1993. But back to 2010, Martin Brodeur on April 3rd of 2010 made 26 saves to lead the Devils to a 4-0 victory against the rival Carolina Hurricanes at the RBC Center. It marked his 7th season with at least 8 shutouts, tying George Hainsworth's NHL record. And he beat that record. Which 2 defensemen scored goals for the Devils in a 7-3 victory against the Dallas Stars in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, May 30th, 2000 at Continental Airlines Arena? I love the answer to this question. Kenny Daneyko, my good friend Kenny D. I'd like to thank Ken Daneyko for all he's done for me in the recent month, and also Scott Stevens, who I wish would be more out in the Devils, coming around for the Devils on TV and stuff every once in a while. I really wish we would get a little bit more of Scott Stevens, because he's a local guy, you know what I mean? He could be there, but he's not, and that sucks. But let me know what you think about that. Let's go back to the inaugural year. October 18th, 82. Bob McMillan became the first player in Devils history to score 2 goals in one game during a 3-1 victory against the Flyers at Brendan Byrne Arena. He scored against goaltender Rick St. Croix, Croix, C-R-O-I-X, at 5:53 and 14:38 of the first period. 13 goals. 2009 we're going from inaugural to 2010, back and forth here. In 2009-2010 season, who was the rookie that scored 13 goals? Nicholas Bergfors, my friends. Nicholas Bergfors. Never forget. Let's go to a Stanley Cup year. How about that? Okay. The Devils became the first team in NHL history to win 10 road games in one playoff season. When they won on June 20th, 1995, the Devils defeated the Detroit Red Wings 4-2 in Game 2 of the finals at Joe Louis Arena. That made them the first team in NHL history to win 10 road games in one playoff season. I'm going to use that over on Twitter. Who did the Devils obtain from the Wild in exchange for Willie Mitchell on March 4th, 2001? This is a hard one. I don't know the answer to this one. I have to look it up. Sean O'Donnell. Now I'm going to bring a name up, another 2010 name, another special day, October 8th, 2010. October 8th is just a wonderful day, beautiful day, the best day of the year. Defenseman Alexander Urban made his NHL debut in a season-opening 4-3 overtime loss against the Stars. He wore number 29. I remember that. Which two players won the Cup with the Canadiens in 85-86? I already know. It's Lemieux and Richer. And the Devils in 94-95. Lemieux and Richer. That's the answer. Straight up. If you need to know about the New Jersey Devils, this is where to come. Quick and factual. You get your facts, you know your stuff, you hear it. Nothing I tell you is a lie. If you need to learn about the Devils, this is the best place to be. On June 10th, 2000, the Devils clinched the Stanley Cup title in the second Stanley Cup title in team history by defeating the Stars 2-1 in double overtime at Reunion Arena. Of course, Jason Arnott, former Star, scored the game-winning goal. Niedermeyer opened the scoring in the second period, and Marty Brodeur made 30 saves. And how many goals did the Devils score in 7 games against the Avalanche in the 2001 Stanley Cup Final? How many goals did they score altogether in those 7 games? It's not a number we want to hear. 11. But that was a fluke. Ray Bourque was brought into the Colorado, and they gave them the Stanley Cup. The Devils were up 3-2 in that series. No way they were going to lose, and somehow they did. October 30th, 1983, rookie defenseman Kenny Daneyko, also Coach of the Year in 3-ice hockey of the Devils, scored his first career goal during a 5-3 loss against the Pittsburgh Penguins at Brendan Byrne Arena. He scored against goaltender Michel Dion at 7:26 of the third period with an assist from Dave Cameron. I am going to actually take a picture of this and send it to him. Okay, I did that. Hopefully it's clear. Yeah. I like to keep up with Dano. So I'm sending to him. I'm doing my podcast right now, and I came across this wonderful fact. Sorry, I will be right back. Just enjoy. Referee called penalty. All right. Anyway, look out for a new interview coming soon. All right. We'll go with a question, a trivia question, and a fact to end this one. Who were the only two players to score goals for the Devils in the Stanley Cup Final against the Avalanche in 2001 and against the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in 2003? Only two players for the Devils scored in both of those series. One of them was a Calder Trophy winner in 2000, Scott Gomez, also Stanley Cup champion. The other, also a Stanley Cup champion in 2000, Patrick Elias. And on November 7th, 1992, rookie defenseman Scott Niedermayer scored his first career goal during a 6-2 victory against the Sharks at the Cow Palace. Yup, at the Cow fucking Palace. He scored on the power play against goaltender Brian Hayward at 12:21 in the second period with an assist from Bruce Driver, who was also once the captain. Number 23, he was in the original 82-83 photo. Daneyko couldn't make it because he wasn't there yet. He also wasn't in the 85 picture, Daneyko. He said he couldn't make it for the photo, but I do have those photos. If you want those team photos, let me know. Thank you for listening to The Devils You Know. It's been a great show, great episode. I hope you got a lot of info out of it, and that's really all I have to say. I'll see you soon.